Today, we're going to talk about a form of market failure that may not be so obvious to most people: public goods. Public goods are things like roads, public parks, streetlights, and more. They all sound like great for a society, and in today's video, you're going to find out exactly why they cause problems for free markets and how governments try to fix them. First, let's start with the definition. A public good is defined by two key characteristics. It is non-rivalrous and non-excludable. Non-rivalrous means that one person's use of the good does not reduce the amount available for someone else. The benefits you receive from a lighthouse beam or national army doesn't stop anyone else from using it. Non-excludability means that it's impossible or extremely costly to prevent someone from consuming the good once it is provided. If a country is defended by a military, everyone inside the borders receive the benefit, whether they paid taxes or not. Put these two characteristics together, and you have the perfect storm for what economists call the free rider problem, where individuals benefit from the good without contributing to its cost. A good example of a public good and the free rider problem is Wikipedia. I'm sure most of the people watching this video have used Wikipedia as a source for research projects in the past. But many of you may not fully appreciate it because you're probably too young to remember that before Wikipedia and the prevalence of the internet, people used to buy whole encyclopedia sets, which could cost as much as $3,000 in today's money.
Yes. Anyhow, here it is. I mean, hey, everybody knows this is the greatest encyclopedia in the world. Help me get a B+.
Why not an A?
Too long. I found so much great information I put it all in. Overkill. The next report I did was for my science class.
Not only were they expensive, but they were heavy and took up a lot of space. And of course, there was no way to update the information once the books were printed.
Encyclopedia Britannica?
Let's have that 800 number. Excellent.
Just call this number and we'll send you this free booklet.
Luckily, you don't need those anymore. Today, Wikipedia contains 200 terabytes of information. That's a lot, and probably too much for most people to understand. Let's put it this way. If your phone could hold 200 terabytes, you could take 1,000 selfies every single day for 170 years before running out of space. And hosting that much data isn't cheap. According to the Wikipedia Foundation annual report, they spent over $3 million in 2024 just for web hosting. They do ask for donations, but most consumers will choose not to pay because they know they can enjoy the benefits without paying. This is the free rider problem, and why it's very unlikely that there will ever be another site like Wikipedia. Private producers simply have no incentive to supply the good at all. But if you were paying attention in the previous lessons, you understand the positive externalities that come from free access to information and knowledge, which goes on to benefit all of society. So, if you're able to, please consider donating to Wikipedia to ensure this resource is around for a while so more people can benefit from it. But you might still be wondering why public goods are considered market failure. Since private firms are not incentivized to supply the good, socially desirable goods society needs, go underprovided or aren't provided at all, and as a result, we have a misallocation of resources. The society would benefit from a higher supply of the good, but no resources are being allocated to the production of the public good. Society is then underprovided with the good or service. This means allocative inefficiency. The socially optimal level of public goods is never reached through market forces, creating a clear gap between what the market produces and what society actually wants. This is known as market failure. This is where government intervention becomes essential. And the first major solution is direct provision. When the government directly provides a public good, it uses tax revenue to finance the production and offers the good to society for free at the point of use. Examples include street lighting, flood control systems, national defense, and public parks. The logic is simple. Since everyone benefits and no one can be excluded, the cost should be shared collectively through taxation. Direct provision allows society to achieve the socially optimal output because the government can produce at the level where the marginal social benefit equals the marginal social cost. It helps to alleviate the free rider problem because individual payment is no longer voluntary. It is built into the tax system. But it's not quite that simple. Direct government provision raises some issues about choice and allocation. Which goods should be provided, and in what quantity? A limited government budget means that resources are scarce, and choices need to be made, which will always bring about opportunity costs of the options that weren't chosen. This can cause major political conflicts between opposing parties, since each would probably have very different ideas on how the budget should be spent to best benefit society. When deciding on things like this, a cost-to-benefit analysis is usually done, but this becomes difficult to measure when it comes to public goods because there's no price. Remember, the demand curve is a benefits curve, and the price tells us the value of the benefits received from consuming the product. But what if there is no price? Can you tell me exactly how much benefit you get from a public park? How about a streetlight? How about the police? These things are usually taken for granted, and you don't realize how valuable they truly are until you don't have them. And if you can put a value on the benefit of a good, then how do you know if the cost to produce it is reasonable or not? So yes, the government can easily estimate the cost to build a new city park, but it is much harder to estimate the benefits, so it's impossible to say whether building the new park is worth it. So then another option is contracting out. This is when the government makes an agreement or contract with a private firm to carry out the production. For example, instead of being responsible for building roads, bridges, and other infrastructure, the government may choose to hire private firms to do it instead. To pay for the cost of production, the government would still use tax revenue but pay directly to the private firm. Of course, this is going to have advantages and disadvantages. Let's take a look. First, the good stuff. Competition. Usually, the government will award the contract to the firm that can do it at the lowest cost. Firms then compete with each other to lower their cost of production, and the winner will be the most efficient firm. In addition to that, the contract will also likely involve quality standards that must be met. This helps ensure a high level of quality of the good produced. Next is expertise. Private firms are more likely to possess better skilled workers and technology than the government is able to provide. And all of the above also relate to innovation. The firm is incentivized to innovate to find the most efficient ways to produce the high-quality product. Okay, but how about the bad stuff? First of all, the government loses control and becomes less accountable for the goods and services that it has contracted out. And then, even though firms are competing with one another to offer the lowest price, they all need to make a profit, which is something that the government doesn't need if they were the producer. Because of this, the total cost might still be higher than what the government could do. And because the private firm is looking to cut costs wherever possible, the result may be a reduction in quality. So, as you can see, contracting out makes it possible to provide the good or service at a higher quality than lower cost than the government could. But there's no guarantee this will happen. To help ensure it does, the production needs to be closely monitored by the government, which then adds to costs. In the end, public goods represent a fundamental limit of free market systems. Without government intervention, goods that are essential for safety, infrastructure, and overall societal functioning would be severely underproduced. That is why governments step in, to correct market failure, ensure fairness, and provide what the private sector cannot. And that's going to be all for this lesson. Be sure to test yourself on the learning objectives, leave your questions in the comments, and, as always, thanks for watching.